Yeah, I know that we started out and hopefully we got close, kind of close to land use issues in some of the discussions. But as a 30-year resident of this community and probably going on 12 years on this commission, I don't think I can remember an issue that raised the kind of hatred I saw today. And I'm, as a citizen, and not as a commissioner, but as a citizen, I'm somewhat ashamed and somewhat flabbergasted by the kind of rhetoric I heard. I know it has nothing to do with the issue, but I feel like I've got holes in my tongue from biting it when I'm hearing some of the things that came out today. Ignorance, and I don't mean ignorance of meaning intelligence, I mean ignorance of the facts, breeds fear breeds hatred, and unfortunately I saw a lot of that today. And I hope that was just an anomaly, that's not part of the community we live in, and I hope we don't see it again.
Mr. Harder, you're in the queue.
Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate all of you that have been here, and as has been said before and many times inaccurately, the reason we have these types of discussions is because we're in a country that allows this type of thing. You certainly are entitled to have an opinion. I would agree with Commissioner Talicio, some of the ways that those opinions have been stated tonight. I'm embarrassed about it. Again, I don't mind that you have an opposite opinion from somebody else, but you still need to be respectful, and that's something that I think some of you have done much better than some of the others have. And so we appreciate those of you that stayed behind and appreciate those of you that have been civil.
Mario?
Well, as a 22-year resident, I have to ditto what the two previous commissioners said. It was embarrassing. When we incorporated 21 years ago, we took a lot of time and effort to come up with a general plan and a building plan for this city that all residents who moved here would be appreciative of. I'm going to pat myself on the back because I think we've done a pretty damn good job. What I hear all the time when I go to other states, as far back as New York, oh, you're from Temecula, and they've heard of us. And it makes me feel pretty good. People come down here to visit our little community, and they end up moving here. The reasons I've heard for that is the number of schools, the number of churches, the number of parks, the schools, the landscaping. You don't hear too many issues about the traffic, although we like to joke about that. But we do hear about the positives, and like I stated. So that didn't just happen by chance. That happened with city councils and staffs and commissions and volunteers in this community working hard. And we've worked hard for 21 years to develop this community. So when people come in here and blast it and preach the prejudice that we've heard tonight, it's not good for our community, certainly not good for our children. And like my fellow commissioner said, I certainly hope we've heard the end of this. We were given a charge tonight on this agenda item to look at this application from a land use issue. Even though we've heard all the other rhetoric, it boils down to land use, and this project has met the conditions. In fact, it has exceeded it. We have a minimum landscape requirement of 20%. We're at 50% on this project, which is not heard of. The design elements of this building are pretty fabulous. We try to preach four-sided architecture on this commission, and it's pretty difficult to get that from applicants. This applicant did that, and it does work. It works really well. I think the traffic is going to mitigate itself when the improvements to Nicholas Road are done. We've been working on that for many years, and it would have happened already if A, the developer out there in Rapa hadn't done what he did, and B, the recession hadn't hit. So it will happen, and 10 years from now we'll forget that this stuff ever existed. So that said, I have not heard any substantial evidence from a land use issue to deny this project. So I am going to recommend staff approval of staff recommendation on this.
Right. Mr. Kite, did you have anything to say before we finish?
Yeah, a couple things. First of all, kudos to Eric and Patrick and all the staff that worked on this project. I mean, it's been time since I think it's been thorough, and I too, and I hate to keep beating a dead horse here, but I spent 7 years on the Shasta County Planning Commission, 7 years on the Reading City Council, and now 2 years here. And I heard some of the most rude comments tonight, and it really detracts from what I think is a really pure process that we've gone through. And I heard the Constitution talked about so many times tonight. You saw democracy at its finest tonight, and government at its finest when it happens at a local level, where I think the entire community was free to come and talk tonight, and I think half of them did. And I applaud you for your perseverance and your patience and just getting through the evening. I know it's been lengthy and painful for many of you, but I agree with Mr. Garrio that the preponderance of evidence, at least that I've heard tonight, regarding land use issues only, certainly would lead me to second the motion, Mr. Garrio, and that is to move this forward.
Actually, just very quickly, since you guys have pretty much covered everything, and I concur with everything you guys said, I actually, again, want to thank everybody that put a lot of time and effort in this. And I know there was, a lot of heated discussions, and it's issues that weigh heavy on a lot of people. But at the same time, for me, I was a little frustrated tonight because, a couple times things got a little out of hand. But for the most part, I think we got through it, and it's nice to see that people were respectful. And hopefully, for me, I don't have to keep saying, please wrap it up anymore. That's the most I've had to say that in a long time, but right now we are going to wrap it up.
Well, before we vote, I think you should show the people that are left the gavel that you could have used this evening.
By the way, I'm actually the nice commissioner. See, these guys here, remember that, these guys here, they're tougher than I am. This is what they wanted me to use. Anyway, with that, we had a motion on the table and a second. The motion and Mr. Guerrero, and the second was Mr. Kite, correct? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Wrap it up. I just want to say thank you very much. I want to thank Eric Jones. I want to thank Patrick Christensen. I want to thank Stuart.